Hi, this is Kermit the Frog.
Fascinating. I'm Captain Kirk.
Magic is always there, as long as we keep looking for it.
Engage.
What does God need with a starship?
Thank you, love you. Mwah.
I protest. I am not a merry man.
Places, please. And here we go.
Down at Fraggle Rock.
Welcome, Doozers, Gorgs, Mintakins, and things to episode 155 of the MuppeTrek Podcast. I'm Steve.
And I'm Jarman, and we're on a journey across the stars to compare and contrast the creative worlds of Jim Henson and Gene Roddenberry.
What started out as reviews of The Muppet Show and Star Trek the Original Series has expanded into outer space.
And this week we have Fraggle Rock episode All Work and All Play, and Star Trek The Next Generation episode Who Watches Them Watchers? But first, Steve, I think I want to rock.
There are all kinds of gems, jewels, and geodes in the world, many of which can be found in Fraggle Rock. And this week's is Chamber Site. Well, it's called that because it was first discovered in 1964 in Chambers County, Texas. The crystals form these sort of pyramidal shapes and are found in colors ranging from brown to purples to deep reds. This isn't found a whole lot of places, and because of that, it's incredibly rare and doesn't have any commercial applications, because even if someone found a commercial application, there wouldn't be enough of it to do it.
Wow.
So they're very high on the Mohs hardness scale, but despite that, they aren't really used for jewelry. Because they darken in prolonged sun exposure. So because of that, if you do have them as jewelry, you have to like keep them protected and only wear them at night.
Wow.
To maintain their color.
That's fast. They look amazing.
They are, but they don't stay that way. They get dark. So that's Chamber Site, and that rocks.
That rocks.
I want to rock!
Look like alien artifacts.
Kind of, yeah. Like in a movie when they find something that crash landed into Earth, that's what it looks like.
Exactly. It's weird.
Well, what's up, Doc? Doc brings in the mail. Sprocket's Dog Day magazine has arrived, but Sprocket's feeling blue. Doc encourages him to follow his dream, which is revealed to be that Sprocket wants to be a horse. Doc saddles him up, and he does his best horse impression. It tires Sprocket out, though. Doc goes to feed Sprocket, but pulls out hay. Well, he's a horse, isn't he? But Sprocket changes his mind. He decides he would rather be a dog.
Mm-hmm.
What's going down in Fraggle Rock? Red and Gobo are returning from getting Uncle Traveling Matt's postcard when they say that they're excited and they remember they're right near the cave of the Rumble Beetle and they gotta go, the Rumble Bug. They gotta go check it out. Back at the Rock, they greet Wembley, and Gobo immediately launches into reading Uncle Traveling Matt's postcard, where young silly creatures put round things into slots and push lots of buttons, and they're having very fun, but then look really miserable at the end. He wonders why they do it if it makes them so miserable. Red catches some Z's when she is shocked and waken up by a Doozer. Cotterpin decides that she wants to be a Fraggle, and then they're going to go to the Whistling Tunnels together. So they set off on a race, but Red immediately outpaces Cotterpin considerably. She just can't keep up. This is where they establish that Doozers are 6 inches tall. That's canon now. They say it out loud. Doozers are 6 inches tall.
I can catch that.
Red decides to carry her the rest of the way, and they go to listen to the Rumble Bugs. We get a really lively song, Rumble Bug Hum, which is fast moving, kind of a tongue twister almost. Mm-hmm. Red wants to take Cotterpin for a swim, but apparently Doozers don't, can't, and won't swim. That is also canon now.
Yeah.
Well, what's the other half of this story? Well, this week, what did Doozers do? We get a glimpse at Doozer society, their cities and families, and even a sport called Ted Ball, I think is what it was called. There's a concerned mother, Wingnut, looking for her daughter, Cotterpin. Cotterpin is going to get her helmet in just 2 days, a rite of passage, which is really funny because just an episode or two ago, we theorized that they were a hive mind, and when they put on the helmet, that was when they joined.
That's right.
So this made that So much better.
And it's canon now.
It is. And they're 6 inches tall and they hate water. Cotterpin is procrastinating, though. She doesn't want to be a worker. She just wants to be a Fraggle. Well, this is an outrage. They send her straight to the architect to get straightened out. Down to the cave near the Rumblebug she goes. The architect is at a loss of what to do with her. He sends her to study, and she zooms off. And she sings The Way I've Got to Go, a melancholy tune as she drives away from her Doozer life. She decides she's going to go follow the Fraggles. The architect catches up to her, takes her back for her helmet ceremony. It's a really grand affair filled with song and chorus, and they sing the song Yes We Can, all the Doozers. But Cotterpin at the last minute refuses. She's going to be a Fraggle. She approaches a sleeping Red, but Red is weary and in disbelief that a Doozer is talking to her. After a misadventure, she realizes that she's a Doozer at heart and can never be a Fraggle, and returns to the Doozer settlement. She tells the architect she won't take the helmet, and the architect says, well, there's one in every generation, and the architect was one of them too. Mm-hmm. He didn't want to be a worker. He just wanted to draw. He offers her the role of apprentice architect, and Cotterpin accepts.
Oh.
So, Jarman, what did you think of this week's episode of Fraggle Rock?
I mean, it's a Doozer episode, so man, was it a doozy.
All Doozer.
Can't go wrong. But also on top of that, the songs were upbeat and fun. I was watching this with the wife, and she was just like, these songs, like the RPM, she said the RPM on these is pretty high. I like it. And I was like, yeah, it is.
This one was higher, I would say, on average. Like, yes. Even the melancholy song was kind of high end.
That's true. There was no like slow moving songs in this episode. Cotterpin was adorable. We got all these new character names for these little Doozers. I loved her journey. The Yes We Can song led by the architect was awesome. The camera work in that song, if you notice, was like there was cinematography being used. They're moving the camera like on a dolly around the architect as he's singing. I'm like, this is like a musical. This is fantastic.
I think because they were filming miniature, that they had the ability to do more with the camera rigs they had.
Yeah, you don't think about that, but that's makes
you don't
it a
need
easier.
A crane when you're shooting a miniature.
You could do it with your fingers, you know. Basically, it works out that way. I loved Red trying to be all in for Cotterpin to be a Fraggle, but then just helping her realize she doesn't not going to work because the Fraggles love them water. They love swimming around. And Cotterpin as the new architect was adorable. I surprisingly didn't see it coming until like towards the last minute when I'm like, oh, drawing. Okay. Architect. Okay. But it was a great little turnaround. And the Doozers have a whole city. Well, that's canon now, which is amazing.
That's right. Yeah. We've never seen I think we've seen like maybe a hut or a house before, but they had like real cities.
Yeah. There was one episode where they kind of cut away to a bunch of Doozers off work, but it definitely wasn't in that city. It was like a couple houses. Sprocket's story tied in nicely with the whole thing of wanting to be somebody else.
Yeah, wanting to be somebody he's not. That was great.
Exactly. So for me, even though we didn't have Moki, Boober, or the Gorgs, or Trash Heap, I didn't care because it was Doozer episode and it's fantastic. So what about you, Steve?
Doozer episode, do no wrong.
Yes.
I agree. It's weird to say this, but there was some really good lore building in this episode. We've really been missing the Doozers, so it was really great to see an episode that featured them, but it wasn't all Doozer. We still got a good amount of Fraggle. Mm-hmm. If anything, I wish they would take it further. The Doozer has a reason to go see Marjorie for some reason. That would have made
sense, yeah.
Something like that would have been great. And maybe that should have been the real adventure that Red took Cotterpin on.
That would make more sense.
To get advice. Yeah. But that didn't happen. It was still okay. Songs were good and catchy. Cotterpin was great. The first time, the same story is extended across all three storylines, which is really interesting. So I think a very high to middling episode.
Oh, it's high for me. It's going to be hard to top this one for me in the season, even though it's not about Fraggles, really. It's about the Doozers.
Well, this makes me hope that they're like, okay, we did this Doozer episode. We can do more Doozer stuff now. Yeah,
they can be more incorporated into the storylines because there's such a lore behind them now that I still love that one line because they would keep bringing back how the Fraggles eat those constructions. They're like, oh, do you see those new towers we built? It's like, yeah, I bet the Fraggles ate them immediately. And they're like, yeah, they're just so excited about that. It's like, that's hilarious. Anyways.
Because they live to build.
They live to build. That's right.
High end big win episode. I agree. I'm not sure if it'll end up top.
That's fair.
3 or not for the season, but best Doozer episode by far.
Absolutely.
What the hell were those silly creatures up to this week, putting little discs into slots? Well, there were kids at an arcade. Late 19th and early 20th century is when the arcades started showing up with early coin-operated machines, including things like fortune tellers, early versions of pinball machines, mechanical game sort of things. You got some early shooter sort of mechanical things. But the golden age of arcades really came about in the 70s with huge titles like Space Invaders coming out in 78 and Pac-Man in 1980. And while console gaming has seen sort of the end of their reign as champions, you can still find multiple barcades in any major metropolitan area in the U.S. Some fun factoids. Space Invaders, which came out in 78, caused a 100 yen coin shortage in Japan because those were the coins used for these machines. And there were so many of them out of circulation because they were in these cabinets that it caused issues with like transportation and stuff because people didn't have the change they needed to get on public transit. In 1982, specifically, the arcade industry brought in more money than all Hollywood box office.
Wow.
So at its height, it was bigger than the movie industry.
And that was still a good year for cinema, too.
It was. 84 is like, I think if we looked at 84 is like the year.
83 is good, too. Yeah, 84 is good.
God, all the 80s. God damn it. Laserdisc technology was used in cabinets for a very short while, Sean Vanderloo. The most prominent example being the game Dragon's Lair, which offered full like, cinematic animations throughout as you played the game.
Great game.
So yeah, that's arcades, and that's what those silly creatures were up to this week.
Hell yeah.
So Jarman, what did you think the best MuppeTrek moment this week was?
I think maybe it was just cinematography and like everything else, but that Yes We Can number was, I think, just choreographed really well. You see all their mouths moving so well, like these little tiny little miniatures. It was really impressive. The little honorable mention to Cotterpin's little motorcycle was amazing that she used everywhere. I'm like, that is so cool. So I want a little Cotterpin toy with a motorcycle. I'd play with that.
Absolutely. Get a little remote for it. I wrote all the Doozers, best Doozers.
Best Doozers.
Is what I wrote for best MuppeTrek moment. This was the most we've ever seen them do. It was great. Great character, great performance for such small puppets. It's
the
kind of
architect
incredible.
Was great. He was fantastic.
So yeah, absolutely spectacular. All the Doozers, best Doozers. That's my MuppeTrek moment.
Best Doozers.
Well, let's see if there's any best anything in this episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Yeah, that's all right.
There's some stuff.
Yeah, who watches the Watchers? A hidden Federation anthropology team is secretly observing the proto-Vulcan Mintakans on Mintaka 4. From a camouflage duck blind. Those things kind of like hide while you're hunting. Unfortunately, their power generator goes haywire, and this shuts down their holographic cover, and the outpost is exposed to the locals. And this is why the Enterprise was being sent there to kind of fix their power generator. But this happens before they get there. But one Mintakan named Liko is nearby, and he sees all this happen, and he gets injured in the excitement. Dr. Crusher then beams him to the Enterprise to save his life, and after a while being on the Enterprise and he sees Picard, he decides that they need to wipe his short-term memory from what he saw. But she's not sure if it'll work because of his proto-Vulcan anatomic word. I can't use words. What is
anatomy?
Anatomy. Thank you. And she sends him back home. But the problem is Liko's daughter was there far away, and she witnessed all this happening, and the Enterprise crew didn't see her and didn't know she saw everything. And unfortunately, Liko still remembers fragments and returns convinced that he met the all-powerful being named the Picard. So Liko immediately goes back to his village and tells everyone what he saw, with his daughter backing him up, saying she saw it too, and that they saved his life and that they materialized out of nowhere, and it's all this amazing stuff. So now with the Prime Directive in jeopardy, Riker and Troy go undercover as Mintakans with the ears and everything to go find an anthropologist that went missing when the generator went down as well, but also to limit the cultural contamination that could have happened from just seeing them alive. Meanwhile, the Mintakans start debating how to appease this Picard, complete with talk of sacrifices and stuff like that. So it's getting out of hand very quickly. One of the other anthropologists, the head anthropologist at the duck blind, he insists now that they just play God and guide the Mintakans. But Picard's like, whoa, hold on. What the fuck? We have a first directive for a reason. He quickly nixes that. And instead, he brings Nuria, the Mintakan leader, aboard the Enterprise and calmly shows her that they have technology, that they're just people with tools. They're not gods with miracles, and they can't stop death like she thinks they can. He shows her one of the crew members, one of the anthropologists, dying, and they can't bring her back. So she now knows, oh, these aren't gods. These are just people. But back on the surface, things are getting tense. At one point, Riker had tried to break out the missing anthropologist, but they kind of caught him and they chased after him. Then they trapped Troy, making sure she couldn't get away because they thought she was conspiring with the Riker. And Liko is ready to prove Picard's divinity the hard way. Because when Picard comes down to make sure everything's going better with Nuria, he threatens to shoot Picard to prove to him that he's a god. And Picard says, well, that's what you have to do to understand that I'm not a god by shooting me. Go for it. But when he's about to shoot Picard with an arrow and kill him, Liko's daughter whacks her father at the last minute so it doesn't get a killing shot. But Picard bleeds quite a bit. So Nuria points out the obvious that gods, they don't bleed. So that reality check finally breaks the spell over the Mintakans. And Troy, who had been held captive, and the missing anthropologist Palmer are released. The villagers drop the whole worship the Picard idea, and the Federation team stands down. And Picard leaves them with an understanding that they aren't gods, and that one day, them too, they could develop technology and be just like us, like Starfleet. So there's still some contamination, but they don't believe that they're gods, and they didn't mess things up too much, hopefully. So that's Who Watches the Watchers. So Steve, what do you think of this episode?
So some things I liked. I love the proto-Vulcan aspect. There's so many, now mind you, that's sort of counter to this, but there's so much in Vulcan culture that we've seen through everything that is logic mixed with like almost witchcraft and mysticism.
Yeah.
So this was interesting to sort of see that, but without, the whole thing was that they'd moved beyond religion.
Already,
They'd moved beyond theistic belief. So it was interesting to sort of see an early phase of it in that way. It's first time that I didn't loathe the Prime Directive as a plot device.
It was very central to this, yeah.
Because it was central to it, but they screwed up and they knew they screwed up. As opposed to most time where the Prime Directive is just a vague suggestion that
exactly.
no one really seems to follow, especially in the original series when it wasn't well drawn out.
Oh, yeah.
It was good to see Picard and Crusher really at odds.
Mm-hmm.
And being on opposing sides of something. We got a lot of that with Dr. Pulaski.
Oh, yeah.
And honestly, with her leaving this season, I wasn't sure who was going to be that foil to Picard, the person that pushes Picard, because there's no one else, really. And so it was interesting to see them put Crusher into that role for once.
Yeah, she wanted to save the guy's life. Picard was like, no, we can't interfere. He has to die.
He already saw us. So,
yeah.
Great attempts at a smarter solution, even though they were crushed by the reality of their screw up. I loved everything surrounding the Picard. Him being talked about as a deity was just brilliant. Some really good acting from Ray Weiss.
Oh, I love Ray Weiss.
Who played the main Mintakan. He's from my wife immediately recognized him from Twin Peaks.
Yep. So good.
Great sort of subtle performance by Patrick Stewart. I really dug his scene with Nuria up in the Enterprise when he was trying to illustrate.
So many good monologues.
Like, we're just beings, like you are just beings. Great. Oh my God. Real blood for once.
What do you mean?
In Star Trek. Picard got shot by an arrow. When was the last time we've actually seen blood?
Not that often.
On screen. People get burned by crap. They get blown up. They get hit with lasers and shit. But it's very rare that someone receives a mortal wound anywhere in Star Trek.
That's true. It happened more in the original series than it does in Next Generation. That's true.
Yeah. And I didn't hate the epilogue as much as I kind of thought it was. As soon as I saw what was happening, I rolled my eyes and I was like, okay, this is all right. Picard's standing there just kind of rapping with the cool kids about what the future holds. Like that, I was like,
what's happening here?
But I didn't hate it, but I wanted to hate it so much. Some dislikes. It needed a little bit more drive and a little bit more pressure. The fact that Troy was being held captive, but there was no clear escalating danger to her. And then all of a sudden they're like, we'll kill her. It'll appease the Picard. Like, I wish there had been some timeline driven thing.
It was a little more nebulous. Yeah. If they're going to kill her.
We will
or not.
sacrifice her to the Picard tomorrow night at the festival. Like anything that put a deadline or an immediate point of duress on her.
That makes sense.
I think would have just pushed it a little bit harder. But otherwise, like a very good episode for the most part.
Yeah, a lot of good psychological sci-fi stuff. They also use this again. I've noted down. This is like the same thing in Insurrection, the movie. It all starts off with a duck blind like this again with the anthropologist studying civilization, and it goes haywire and they end up seeing data and they're like, oh shit, what happened? I feel like there was a lot of unnecessary long wide shots in this. And I was like, I think they were just excited to be on location shooting instead of in the ship.
Yeah. I think you're absolutely right. Or they paid X amount for what set they did build.
Yeah.
And so it just became this like, well, we got to show the shit out of this set. We paid a lot of friggin' money for this set.
It was like they were just
there were different levels.
Time.
There were stairs up that in a balcony level.
Mm-hmm.
Like if this set didn't exist, they paid a crap ton of money to.
It's like one time there's watching Riker walk towards the entrance to their building, and they showed him walking the whole way. I'm like, okay, we get it. We know where he's walking. Yeah. Can you cut away from this shot, please? But also, I said Ray Wise as well. I love him, and I think it was great seeing him as like a sad buffoon kind of character, because usually he's like the bad guy or like the devil or something.
He is. Yeah, he absolutely is.
Twin Peaks. And then also I said the little girl was really good, the daughter. So I looked her up, and it's Pamela Adlon, who's like a big voice actress. It is. And she plays Bobby on King of the Hill and everything. So yeah.
I mean, I'm typically good with faces and voices, and I didn't catch anything until I looked at the IMDb page.
I didn't realize she'd be young enough to play her there. It was crazy. But they actually cared about the Prime Directive. I just wish it was more consistent throughout the series, same as you said, basically. I didn't like how quickly that research scientist wanted to just go whole hog into being gods, like that quickly, because he's still a Starfleet scientist. So it's like, what? You know you can't do that. Like, what? That was weird.
Yeah. I mean, here's the best part. That Starfleet scientist we just talked about, I don't know if you mentioned him a whole lot in your summary. Like, I completely forgot about him. That might be a downside for this. He was unnecessary to the plot.
Yeah, he seemed important at first, and then he made that big argument to Picard in the briefing room, and then we just didn't see him again. He was at the death scene of that person in the office, but then he didn't say much.
And
after
that was really the reason he was in this episode. Like, that is the reason he was here. But like, he had so little bearing on the plot otherwise that like I kind of forgot about him until right now when you mentioned it.
Yeah, and they probably should have been involved with the anthropologists who've been studying this culture for decades or whatever it is. They probably should be more involved with them, but they weren't. Also, just the monologues from Patrick Stewart. I mean, they were fantastic. I love that one about, you once lived in caves, right? So once you moved out of the caves, why'd you do that? Because huts are better. And now we live in these ships because these are better than huts. You know, like it was just like, it made sense. And it was like, that's a great way to explain it to somebody. But yeah, I think overall, I wish it had more levity in the episode. There was not a lot of any funny moments. Like there usually are some moments of like, okay, we can breathe, we can laugh. It was just really serious the whole time. But otherwise, great episode that makes you think. It's what would you do in the situation? I think they did things correctly, for the most part. It was good. Good middle episode for me, I think.
I don't know. I'm going to put this is actually for me a little higher on the heap. I don't think it's going to end up top 3. But I would say this is middle to high, a little bit up for me.
Very nice. That doesn't usually happen with us on these things.
Yeah.
All right. Well, some Trek facts. The Mintakan tapestry that is given to Picard at that moment Steve was talking about, the little cool kids meeting up at the end. They give him a tapestry as a gift. It's later, that's seen on Picard's chair in his quarters and many subsequent occasions on Star Trek The Next Generation. So we have to keep an eye out for that in his office. And after the Enterprise D is destroyed in Star Trek Generations, Picard keeps the tapestry in the back of his chair in the ready room of Enterprise E because it can be seen in both First Contact and Insurrection after that. So this thing has a long life from this episode. The Enterprise visits the planet Mintaka 3 in this episode, and Mintaka is also the real name of the westernmost star of the 3 stars that form Orion's belt in the constellation Orion. It's the white-blue supergiant star located approximately 900 light years from Earth, and it's over 20 times larger and 7,000 times brighter than our sun. So that's a real star, Mintaka. The title is related to the Latin phrase, which I'm going to butcher, quis custodiet ipsos custodes. It's a Latin phrase from the Roman treatise of Satires of Juvenal, written around AD 100, translated as "who guards the guards themselves," or something similar. So it's an old phrase that's been transcribed to "who watches the watchers." That was used on other occasions as well. The scene where Riker is hiding from the citizens was shot, basically all those outdoor shots, was shot in Santa Clarita, California at the Vasquez Rocks, where tons of Star Trek stuff has been filmed. Lots of movies have been filmed. But most famously for Star Trek fans, Arena with the Gorn in the original series was filmed in the same exact location in the Vasquez Rocks, which is a lot of fun. This is the second of 3 times that Picard shows a native female her home planet from orbit. He just really likes taking up chicks on board the Enterprise and showing them their home planet. So that will happen again. And that's our Trek facts. So, Steve, what Trek connections you got for us this time around?
I guess that does happen in First Contact. Yeah. Now that you say it out loud, that's the one that immediately comes to mind.
I forgot the actress's name, but yeah, he takes her aboard the Enterprise and shows her Earth from above. Yeah. Exactly.
Wow. All right. Some similarities. Oh, no, Trek Connections. I'm wrong. Trek Connections.
Yeah, sorry.
Liko was played by actor Ray Weiss. He played the voice of Commissioner Gordon in the animated film Batman the Killing Joke. Oh. In that movie, Joker was, of course, played by Mark Hamill, who was a guest on The Muppet Show and also played the scientist in Dark Crystal Age of Resistance.
Aha.
There we go. And Dr. Barron was played by actor James Green, who I knew immediately as Councilman Milton, the old dirtbag councilman from Parks and Rec.
Oh, I forgot that was him.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Shall we kiss? Yeah, okay. With tongues? Oh, I don't know.
I forgot about that.
Councilman Milton. In Parks and Rec, also, Rashida Jones. And Rashida Jones, of course, played the television executive in the 2011 The Muppets.
Mm-hmm. Good connection.
So, yeah, Councilman Milton.
Which is why they're the same episode. Absolutely the same.
Same damn episode.
Both feature a character sneaking around to observe other civilizations/species. OG, the young Mintakan girl, is observing Starfleet with her father from afar. And Cotterpin observes the Fraggles from afar as well before she tries to join up with them.
Mine's kind of similar. Both feature insular species interacting. The Enterprise with the Proto-Vulcans and Cotterpin with the Fraggles.
That's true. Very true.
Yeah.
Both have a leader character stepping in to solve the problem of the episode. The Mintakan leader steps in to persuade the other Mintakans that Picard isn't a god, and the architect Doozer steps in to let Cotterpin know that she doesn't have to be a builder. She can be an architect like him.
I do like that. Both feature creatures pretending to be something they aren't. Riker and Troy in deep disguise as proto-Vulcan aliens, and Sprocket dressed up as a horse.
He made a great horse. I thought he did a fantastic job.
I think he did great.
Oh, what's that noise? Oh, God.
Transporter malfunction.
Scared the crap out of me.
Transporter malfunction.
Well, it's that time of the episode where we take one character from one episode and switch them around. So what you got for us, Steve?
Trek to Rock this week, I'm going to bring over Troy and replace Cotterpin Doozer, trying desperately to fit in with the Fraggles without upsetting the Prime Directive.
And she could do it well because she could feel their emotions. You know, she knows what's going on. Trek to Rock, I bring over Miko the Mintakan, or Ray Weiss, to take the place of Cotterpin, because he seems to share her same curiosity and need for change. And he would also not just want to be a builder. He wants something more, you know?
Yeah, he wants his wife back.
I want my wife back.
Rock to Trek, bring over just the entire Doozer civilization and make them the natives on the, just entirely replace every Mintakan with the Doozers.
The whole planet's just covered in the radish buildings.
Yeah. Beautiful little white skyscrapers and shit.
It's like, it appears to be a very industrial civilization, Captain.
And then Riker and Troy are like 6 feet tall, painted green with little antennas.
Little bulbous nose.
We are from a different village.
Really? Because that's really frightening. How's the air up there?
Let us make Doozer constructions.
Rock to Trek, I bring over Doc, because I love bringing over Doc to take the place of Picard. He would convince the Mintakans that they can stay as they are, but become inventors and tinkerers and build stuff with their own resources in his own friendly, folksy way. So I think he'd do a great job.
It'd be super folksy.
All the time.
If anything, this is maybe one of the few episodes where Doc like isn't quasi abusing or neglecting Sprocket.
He's very supportive. Yeah.
He's deeply supportive about his confused dog.
Deeply. But that brings us to the end of episode 155 of the MuppeTrek Podcast.
Join us next time for Fraggle Rock episode Sir Hubris and the Gorgs.
And Star Trek The Next Generation episode The Bonding.
So from the lovers, the dreamers, and us.
The lovers, live long and prosper, everyone.
Bonding. The bonding.
Thanks for listening to the MuppeTrek Podcast. Be sure to follow us on social media on Facebook and Twitter.
Subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, or your favorite podcast platform.
This podcast has been brought to you by A Play on Nerds.